Hey, yeah. So my name is Lynn Ferguson. I am the creator of Lynn's Bins. I'm going to be speaking today about the white woman in St. Louis who followed a black man into his apartment complex. Well, she impeded him from being able to. She impeded the traffic, his traffic. She didn't allow him to make it through to the apartment building, to the inside of the lobby. She when he pushed past her after a few minutes of, tolerating her baloney, he was blocked by the elevator or from entering or boarding the elevator. She then got on the elevator with him and escorted him upstairs. She walked to his apartment door. I mean, just going in on how she had the right to do these things the entire time, and how this was just not a bad thing for her to do. And she continued to prod where he lived, why he lived there, the entire time that she's tried to stop him from, going to his apartment complex and or his apartment and or his loft. And this is in the downtown area of St. Louis, Missouri. And I live in St. Louis, so it's pretty crazy, pretty close to home. But it's just crazy because, you don't see. I know the guy from the Advice show, which I love, spoke on it, and he said, you don't see black people doing this to other black people, and white people, or in other minorities doing this to black people, and things like that. And by far and large. And you don't really see this happening. You see this only happening with, by far and large with mainly white people who feel entitled, mainly white women, but white people who feel entitled and want to stop a black person. They are jealous of some kind of situation with a black person. They don't want them to proceed to do what they want, what they're doing, whatever the case may be. And it's just really unfortunate because we live in this time in which, people say racism is so far away, and, slavery is so far away in the past, and, civil rights was, and Jim Crow was so far away and so long ago granted that we shouldn't focus on it, even though we should always remember the Holocaust, and we should always remember, this war and that war, and we should always remember 9/11, but we shouldn't remember slavery, which happened much longer and was much more devastating than any of those. But not to knock them. They're all horrible situations. But if we need to remember one, we need to, especially the ones of less um, uh, ones of less tragedy, then we should, or at least smaller numbers of, in regard to the tragedy and the devastation, we should definitely pay attention to the big ones, and especially slavery. And it's just unfortunate because we live in an era where we say we're so far away from those things, and they were so long ago granted the rights we have as black people. But when a white person does something, or someone does something that's racist against a black person, it's so automatically forgiven. It's so automatically, empathized with and sympathized with because, we are a country that, used to enslave you all. So we only acknowledge that when it's to your benefit. It's a double standard. It's unfortunate. And people are saying that this woman might have liked this guy and wanted the D, and that's probably why she did it. I don't doubt it. It's probably why she was talking to him the way she was talking to him the entire time. If you watch the video, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just really unfortunate because this is the same era of Permit Patty and Barbecue Becky and, child molester, Caroline, or whatever her name is. This woman accused this 9-year-old boy of trying to molest her. Like, this woman, she had a receding hairline. She looked like she had the hairline of a man. If you took her face off her body, you could put it on a man's body easily and have no problem accepting that as a man's face. She had no special assets that anyone that would make anyone stop dead in their tracks or go out of their way to grope her, let alone a 9-year-old boy, 9-year-old black boy. And, you know, she claimed that she was a police officer throughout the entire situation. She had these aviators on, like that was apparently supposed to be her get up. Like, she really needs to be arrested for impersonating a police officer, because they have her on video claiming that. Even though when she went on the news afterward, after the video went viral, she was claiming that the black woman was actually the one who was claiming she was a police officer. It's just really unfortunate, because, you know, this is what era we live in. And, you know, by the way, the white woman who followed this black man into his apartment in the downtown Loft of St. Louis was fired from Tribeca, St. Louis. Tribeca STL. She was not condoned in that behavior, or at least the behavior was not condoned. She was, there was a mission statement, or a statement put out by the Tribeca STL entity, which claims they're minority owned, and it basically lists that they don't tolerate or stand for racism or racial profiling. So, very happy that she lost her job. A lot of people are upset that people are losing their jobs over things like this, and I believe that it's very accurate, because if you are representing a company and you are doing things that will make somebody or a group of people, a major group of people, revolt against that company because you are discriminating against, or someone is discriminating against, you are discriminating against someone else, you know, that is the type of stuff that should not be condoned by anyone. And if you are doing that type of stuff, I think that, you know, I think more discrimination laws need to be on the books. Because at the end of the day, it is something, just because something's not against the law does not mean that it is not, that it's morally okay. You know, I saw a post the other day, and it was speaking on, or reading, it read about, excuse me, it read, you know, about the legalization of slavery and the legalization of all these things, the re-legalization of alcohol after prohibition, you know, all of it. So, you know, alcohol was illegal at a time, now we're drinking it. Weed was illegal at a time, now we're smoking it. Interracial marriage was horrible at a time, now we're going through it, or doing it on a mass scale. And I just think it's very unfortunate that people do not believe in the stands that people are taking as entities and as business, you know, minded people. And it's just, you know, citizens of the United States of America, caring, loving citizens who actually care about their fellow citizens and don't want these types of things to happen. If you're paying this person money and they're using that money to make a platform for themselves to do something that you don't agree with, you should be able to fire them. That's what I think. At the end of the day, if you don't agree with it and it is harmful to others, is that, you know, it's that extra step that basically qualifies it as a, you know, a valid situation. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. But I thank you for joining me with Lynn's Bins, and I look forward to you all reaching in and finding out what we will dig into next time.